I thought we were connected. Are we not connected yet? I want to say we're live, John, but apparently YouTube is not live yet. Oh, wait, there we go. We are live on YouTube, folks. It's Mixed Martial Mindset. We got to be extremely careful with anything we say on this platform. I do want to say thank you to Flick Off for the tip over on Rockfin. Rockfin. Let's just read this one. In relation to your earlier video, I've always thought cats had the sweet life, not dogs. Because I already made the video today, John, about how they're treating us like pets. And just like when a dog gets a biscuit, if you get your V word, you get a donut every week. You get a donut.
I train my dog with positive reinforcement, like treats and pats and good boys.
Mm-hmm.
It works pretty well.
It does.
But usually, I'm looking out for his best interest.
Well, I know that
I
donuts.
think that's a big difference.
Yeah, donuts obviously are your best physical. That's part of the Wake Up Bible, right? You have that in there, like 6 donuts in the morning.
There is not. I don't want to give away the book, but there is not a single donut in the entire Wake Up Bible book.
Not one.
Not one.
Jesus, John, how do you expect these people to lose weight and get their boop boops? Like,
man, wild times, man. Let's see. Hey, we got this crazy disease going on that kills fat people on a much higher rate than anybody else. And the only way to not die from being, from that sickness and being a fat person is to get a shot, and then we'll give you donuts so you're more fat.
Yeah. And just so that, we don't get fact checked, CDC study finds about 78% of the people who were hospitalized for COVID were overweight or obese. And the fact that nobody's talking about this, John, that no one's giving it even a second thought, that they're getting ready to lock down your state again, New York State. California's homegrown COVID variant has now accounted for 52% of state cases, while UK super COVID rises to 8% of infections in Florida and triples in Ohio over 2 weeks.
What's the death rate in Florida? What's the death rate?
The death rate's in the middle.
They're virtually identical, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the middle. They're not talking about death rates anymore because that's never what this was about. And check this out. Oh my God,
somebody got sick. Oh, they had a stuffy nose for a week. Oh my God. So awful.
And if you look at this, 25 of New York City zip codes see COVID positive rates rise above 10% now. Remember, one of the most heavily vaccinated areas. Amid fears the New York variant could affect those who have already, guess what? Got the boop, John. Oh, you got it. And you got it a second time, but now there's a variant. And Fauci's going to tell you to wear 7 masks. It's totally reasonable.
Bury your head in the sand. It's the only way that you can survive this. Just bury your head. I don't know, man. This is funny. This is funny.
So
I was doing shows freaking almost a year ago, 6 months ago at least, asking people like, what's the point? What's the point that you push back? When is it? We haven't reached it yet, I guess.
Well, they reached it globally. Did you see the massive amount of protests on Saturday that were not on the news?
I mean, that's been happening for a little while, I guess, but true.
Yeah, but I mean, this one had tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in the UK alone, John. And then you had people in Israel also. I think I got a bit of an echo now. Did you just turn up your volume?
Was that it?
I don't know. No. It's my voice.
Oh, your voice?
Yeah. Did you just turn that up?
I should have my I think my echo stuff should be turned on or whatever.
So weird. It's weird. Say something in the comments. Let me know. We got some highs from Binghamton. So, there we go. That's good. So Oneida County. Actually, no. It's still. Is that me? What'd you do, Fitch?
I'm not hearing it on the playback.
You're not?
No.
Huh. Okay. Well, let us know in the questions and comments section, guys, if something sounds. Yes, the echo is there. Alex Woodson says. That was weird. Because we were fine right up until maybe 2 minutes ago. F poo tube. Anyway, now if you want to go to a dinner at the hotel, John, in Oneida County, the Palisades, you have to show proof of 2 vaccinations.
Really?
That's upstate New York too. That's nothing because here's the thing. Where's my Twitter? Let's bring up the old twit. If you dare question the science on this one, John, again, apparently, I'm spreading misinformation, but where is it? Boom, 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 right here. COVID spiking in over a dozen states with the most high vaccination rate. And I can't see that there because they put the friggin' ad, but we'll do this. We'll copy. We'll get past them with the incognito window. Pop it on. But yeah. Huh. Of course, what? God damn these ads. COVID spiking in over a dozen states with the most high vaccination rates right there. Boom.
So that's the most. So the people who have gotten the most vaccines are actually now the ones who are getting the most diseases.
They're the ones that are getting the highest infection rates, John.
Man, that's wild.
Someone's saying John is echoing. Sounds very subtle on my. It's so weird because you were 100% fine in the beginning.
How's that?
Yeah, check.
Is that better?
Check. Yes.
Check.
Yes, that is better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little better. There we go.
I think my other microphone was on. I moved some things around because we had the setup with Kung Lee last night on our show about the class action lawsuit stuff that's going on.
Why don't you talk about that? Because there's big developments. 5+ years later, it looks like you guys are going to get some leeway, and then you got some ambulance chasers after the fact.
I mean, there's been a lot of people trying to disrupt and do different things and bite in on the work we've been doing because all this started in the late 2000s. It wasn't something that started in 2014 or whatever. I jumped on late. I was one of the guys who jumped on late with doing this stuff. The MMAFA, Rob Macy, Carlos Newton is the guy. He's the fighter who originally started pushing for this stuff. Okay, so he's the origin of where these lawsuits and everything came from. And now we get to a point where we received class certification last year at the end of the year. So it's been about 4 months. We're still waiting on Bulworth. It's the judge. Sorry, Bulworth. We're still waiting on him to give a decision on the UFC appealing the class certification. So the class certification means that he said the fighters that fought from I can't remember what the date is in 2014 or 2010, but it's then to 2017. It's about 1,200 fighters. We're all in the suit. We're all represented together by the lawyers suing this. So now what's happening is you have people coming out of the woodworks. Ambulance chasers are sending out FedEx packages to fighters. Some of them aren't even in the lawsuit because they don't know what they're doing. They didn't send it to the right people. Mm-hmm. Saying that basically they're the team that's been doing this, and they're doing some smoke and mirrors and hey, sign up with us so we can represent you in this thing that's happening when you're already being represented. Mm-hmm. So if you sign on with these guys, all they're doing is taking a piece of any damages that you might have received. They have not put in any work. They haven't put in any money. They don't know the case. The package that they sent out to people, they had 2 to 3 pages were photocopied and lifted from our original complaint. They aren't even original enough to come up with their own shit. They just stole our stuff, made it look as real like our stuff as they could, and they're trying to sucker people into signing up and then basically giving them money for shit they didn't do.
Yeah, I mean they directly pulled the picture of Dana White with the tombstone for the Affliction MMA brand that had been putting on their own shows, et cetera, et cetera. And what's really disheartening is a lot of these people aren't going to know it. It's going to be, likened to them like they're watching a late night commercial and now you can sue Monsanto because, these other people are doing that. And that's the idea for those lawyers. But the idea for them was to not put in the literal millions and millions and millions of dollars and tens of thousands of hours of work over the last several years to try to make it more fair and make it more competitive.
Not fair. We're trying to remove, I don't like the word fair. Okay. We're trying to remove restraints that have been placed on the market. They don't need to be there. Get rid of them. Mm-hmm. If you have especially in sports, if you have something involved in a sport that doesn't need to be there in order for competition to happen, it needs to be removed. There's no purpose for it. And the UFC monopolizing fighters and the top fighters, not letting people cross promote. controlling exclusive contracts and the title, which no sport's been able to do. But boxing, the titles were removed from the promoters in the 1800s, like flat out illegal. They do not have a sports model. They have a professional wrestling business model. It's a production. They are not a sport. Their lawyer, Epstein, went to Mark Wayne Mullen, who's a congressman who helped us put together the bill to expand the Ali Act. They told him that UFC world titles are not world titles. They're only an award that's bestowed on the best fighter that night. It's just a piece of fake jewelry, basically, that somebody gets that night and it doesn't mean anything. That's their business perspective of what it is, and that's why they're allowed to do what they do. But that's not what they tell the fighters. That's not what they tell the fans. That's not what they tell the commission. It's we're really a sport. It's not. It's a production. It's 100% a production.
And if anything kind of speaks to that, look at Jorge Masvidal getting another title shot at Usman. There are clearly other fighters, and this is not to disrespect Jorge Masvidal at all. I'm a big fan of his. You can't be mad at him for being on the scene for as long as he is and talking himself into that fight and then holding out for more money and now having a big success with the pay-per-view.
Props to him, 100%.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you're asking me who the top 170 guy is to fight Usman, it certainly isn't Jorge Masvidal. In fact, I would say even with Leon Edwards poking Bilal Muhammad in the eye, I would say he's probably more deserving, even being off for 2 years, not suffering any losses, and looking pretty sharp in that fight. I mean, look, that eye poke was completely accidental. And
it happened.
Yeah, and it happens. We all know it happens. It's not like, some of those John Jones eye pokes where literally he's pushing his hand out for.
Like some of the glove could change if they like. Somebody, I think it was Nam Pham, took side-by-side pictures of his hand in two different types of gloves. One was a UFC glove, and the fingers would go really straight. And then one was more of like the Pride style of glove. And there's a little bit more padding on the top, and it curls your hand. So you can't get the same finger out like that. The same finger point isn't possible. So like if you had the other gloves on it, they changed the model of the gloves. That probably would help a lot, because if you can't straighten your fingers out, it's a lot harder to poke somebody in the eye.
And a lot of people have talked about this now for years and years and years. And I forget, who is it that they go to all the time during the UFC now? Is it Trevor Whitman? They go to Trevor Whitman quite a bit. Like they've had him on some of the Ultimate Fighters or whatever. And then they use him as kind of not like another commentary man, but during the fight, they'll get his take on a performance of a fighter and what they have to do to step in. And Whitman has his own brand that he showed on the Joe Rogan show, if you haven't seen it. This is just before Rogan went to Spotify. It was in the new studio, and basically said, they wanted it, but they didn't want to pay him for it. And he's patenting it, and, he's trying to make sure that this is the future. But
I'm surprised. And they've done that before to guys. They've had things that the guys worked hard to create, and then they came along and said, nope, give it to us. Just give it to us. It's crazy. And absolutely crazy.
Just to went to the wrong one. Just to
I'm taking part in another documentary. I think Bobby Razek is putting together another documentary. He's going to be looking at like the shady business deal type stuff that's been going on in the UFC, and it's going to be a lot of fun stuff and eye-opening stuff for people to see, because it's straight up thuggery. Like somebody came up with something awesome and got things together, did hustled and created something that was worth millions of dollars, and they just came along and said, no, give it to us, or all your fighters are done and they'll never fight for us ever again. So he's like, okay, like it's just wild, man. The stuff, it's wild. It really is.
Well, again, people can't seem to get it in their head that when you get to that level of money and you start getting to not just 100,000 or $1 million or 10
it's not
million.
Just the money. It's the monopoly. There's nowhere else to go. If you've got these fighters and you're a manager or a coach or a gym owner and you're trying to make money, there's only one real place to make real money. And if you don't do what they say, they kick you out forever. You're never fighting here again. You guys are done. That's a scary thing, especially for when you're talking about young guys in their 20s who this is their entire life. Like that when it happened to me about the video game agreement. article came out today about me, and they mentioned that briefly, and it said, oh, there was a deal, it was briefly fired, and there was a deal met behind closed door. There was no deal. It was, look, man, this is what it is. Take it or leave it. Like either like you sign it or you're done, and all your teammates are done. That's just how it is. It wasn't a fucking like, oh, well, we'll give you this if you give us that. There's no negotiation. It was sign over it, everything, and shut up about it, or you and all of your teammates are done. So like I felt like I had no other choice but to re-sign with UFC. I was happy with going to Strikeforce. There was plenty of fights for me in Strikeforce. I could have been Strikeforce champ, and then I would have been in a position where I would have been champion going into the UFC after they bought the company.
Yeah. And again, that's so under-discussed how many champions. We've talked about it ad nauseum here. How many champions and top-tier fighters really did come out of Strikeforce? Obviously, you have Daniel Cormier. Obviously, you have Tyrone Woodley. You have Luke Rockhold. A lot of AKA guys. Weird. Well, where did you train, John? I forgot. Where was that?
All the guys who, if I wouldn't have, bitten the bullet, all those guys would have never had the opportunity, according to the shit they were slinging back then, which was 100% believable because they'd done terrible things like that before. So I was in a position where it's like, man, if I don't sacrifice for my team, they're done. And there never would have been a 2-champ Daniel Cormier. There never would have been a Luke Rockhold champ. Who knows if they would have they probably would have cut Kane after his first loss. Like we're in bad situations. So whatever.
And you mentioned Carlos Newton. Just for my audience, you've seen me with Miletich a lot lately here in Iowa. He's actually the dude that took the title away from Miletich. And then Miletich Fighting Systems, Matt Hughes, actually avenged that loss in this crazy dump where it appears maybe both of them went unconscious.
And there's other fights that have happened where maybe that the one guy they wanted to win didn't win. So they're like, oh no, it's a no contest. Like it's so selectively
enforced, right?
Yeah, it's incongruent. There's a lot of incongruencies around that stuff,
And especially back then, we're talking now 15, 16, 17 years ago, that era of Miletich Fighting Systems, the UFC trying to gain more and more mainline acceptance. At that point, the best they had was really Trump arenas. They still weren't on network television in many respects. They were still fighting for pay-per-view in certain places. That finally came around like, I don't know, 2003, 4. I guess they got back on national pay-per-view scene. But you talk about late 90s, early 2000s, they couldn't even do that. That's crazy. You couldn't even sell your business on a television model. And, of course, streaming Netflix or internet was not an option at all.
Yeah. It's wild, man. To think what would be possible today without, the UFC's stranglehold of the sport because of live streaming type stuff. If any random billionaire is like, hey, I like fighting, I want to get involved in the promotion business, they could. And there's a million ways for them to successfully put that product out on the market. But if you don't have the top talent, you can't do it. And that's something that's been written in Moody's reports, economic reports. That's why the UFC is so successful, is because they own the top 10% of the fighters in every weight class. They make 90% of all the money worldwide that isn't made in MMA. It's like not even close. You're telling me like the 30, 40 other organizations that exist are all battling for number 2.
Yeah.
And nobody's even trying to be number 1. Like their internal emails and stuff show that they don't even care. They bow down to the UFC and will bend over backwards to give the UFC what they want. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre because now, especially because you have Disney having such a large stakehold in it through the ESPN deals and that exclusivity, right? They've now abandoned this idea that, we were going mainline for uniforms and we cut a deal with Reebok. Look at this brand name. Well, Venom is not a brand name anybody knows outside of the MMA community. Yep. So, and now you circle back to the original intent of not allowing fighters to even earn their own sponsors.
Yep.
Without the help of the UFC. And that is and that is exactly what it looks like when you look at this new Venom deal that I think is coming into play sometime in the next few months.
And I don't know anything about the deal, but I would be willing to bet it's something like the man. What was their first video game? What company was that?
The very, very first one?
The very first UFC.
THC or
one,
HCQ, right? Right. What it was?
it was TA something, but
Yeah.
it was a company that was going out of business.
Yeah, they did go out of business.
The company that was failing, and that's why UFC went to them, is because they got bigger stake in what was being produced. I'm willing to bet similarly. This is what they're doing with Venom. They're putting money into the company. They're owning a piece of that company. Same thing with Zions. They eventually bought in and were owning Zions. So, like, you know, the big sponsorships, the big things, whatever, they end up buying and owning it. So it's not even like it's outside sponsor. They're sponsoring themselves at a certain point.
Well, I mean, Tap Out has all but disappeared. And remember, it was that era after Mask passed away in the car crash that you saw all those brands kind of get scooped up. Everything. It was Silver Star brand, Tap Out brand. They all merged. And then it just seems like the majority of them, I think Dethrone might have been in there. Just stop.
Dethrone's still around.
Is Dethrone still around? Is that more of a West Coast thing?
More West Coast thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's Nick. It's true. I got his name, but Nick. He's the guy who helped create. I'm drawing the blank on that too. The shoe ordering thing. It's a company that you order shoes, turned into $1 billion company. Nick Swartzen. No.
Nick Swartzen's the comedian that's in LA.
Yeah, the comedian, but it's something. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
But CTE kicking in. But no, like the Zappos.
Okay. Oh, I do know what you're talking about. Zappos. He did that.
Yeah, he made his money from creating Zappos and then selling that, and then he had all this other money, and he's got a bunch of other things going on. I think his brother mostly runs the Throne now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you saw that. So there's been such a consolidation where it's by the UFC brand or by the Reebok UFC brand, and now it's going to be the Venom UFC brand. And I mean, I still have a bunch of Affliction stuff, and they do sponsor lower level fighters. You do see them in Bellator, but they have nowhere near the visibility in the market as a t-shirt company.
That's what happened. A lot of sponsors got zapped and disappeared because there's no visibility. If you can't see if your stuff doesn't get seen, like why put the money out there to pay somebody to wear it? Whereas in the UFC, you know, so many people saw it. Even if it was an undercard fight, your fighter is going to have some pictures that are taken that are big, and then you can put that up. UFC fighter. There's the shorts. You may get the shorts, hang them up in your store, whatever. It made sense for them at the time to spend that $3,000 to $5,000 sponsoring somebody 1 to 3 times a year. You know, it made sense for them. They would make a return on that investment because enough people saw it to bring people into their business.
Yeah, and Affliction even gave Couture his own line. You know, Extreme Couture was just as visible for a very, very long time. Obviously, Randy and the UFC had their butting of heads later on after he fought Coleman. And that line of clothing, I don't even know.
That was when he wanted to fight the last emperor. He wanted to fight I was going to say Putin, but
might as well. Baby Putin, Fedor. You wanted that Fedor fight.
Yeah,
before he lost.
Fight Fedor, and they had the money on the table. It was going to be $5 million. He's going to make $5 million to fight Fedor, and UFC said no. They couldn't control it, so they wouldn't let it happen.
Mm-hmm. And I remember that. I remember
with boxing, you never see the top guys fight. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, the thing is, like, Canelo Alvarez is now taking on a model where he's fighting fucking 5-6 times a year. Like, he's about to fight again. He just fought.
Yeah.
You know, DAZN, it's tough for me because a lot of people, that is the streaming service they don't know about, right? And I'm not sure if they still have Bellator on, but it wouldn't have made sense for me to go with DAZN, especially this year when there was no guarantee on Bellator. And here we are sitting March 22nd, and Bellator still hasn't even put on an event, bro. Think about this, man. We're 8 days away from being 1/3, one fiscal quarter through the year. And all these lockdowns are still happening, and there's no end in sight, and there's variants, and there's Fauci triple masking. And everybody thought everything was going back to normal when they put the senile old zombie in. He called fucking Kamala the president again this week.
You drive around And like, okay, so my truck, the aux cord is burnt out and the CD players are burnt out. So all I can do is listen to the radio when I drive around. Usually I listen to the Latino channels
Yeah.
because it's the, the they
That's
bump
you.
like that. And every once in a while I get an Indian channel and that music bumps also. And I can't understand the commercials, but every once in a while I get stuck on a channel where it's English commercials. And the DJs are all like, "Oh, it's so cool that everything's going back to normal." And I sat in a restaurant, and my kids are playing baseball again soon. But like, it's all going to go away again soon, right? That's what they're talking about. It's now we got a variant. Now it's going to be re-lockdown, and they're going to get rid of the inside seating, and it's going to be outside seating again for a while, and then they'll stop doing that for a little bit. We won't have another 4th of July.
Is this not the most incredible thing in the world? I harken
It's
back.
wild, dude. It's wild to see so many people just like, okay, tell us what to do. Like, how many times does somebody have to lie to you and rip you off and screw things up before you're like, wait, I just want to slow things down and really look at this a little bit closer because I don't trust you. You've screwed me over way too many times. You've gotten so many things wrong. I want a little space between your commands and what's going on.
Well, I mean, I wish I could say it on this broadcast. I guess I'm going to say it. Okay. Probably shouldn't say it, but let's just do some basic math. Okay, John? Now, 320, 330 million people. Let's say you had 100% infection rate. Okay. 100%. Everybody gets it. 330 million people.
Everybody's got it.
Everybody's got it. Now, according to the WHO's own numbers, and we've shown them here ad nauseum here, and this is back in August. Now we're talking about more than 6 months ago. They said it had a 99.4% survival rate. It was probably higher than that, but 0.6%. So 0.6% of the people overall is 1.65 million people. Now, again, never has a virus infected 100% of the populace anyway, but let's give them that number. Okay, so that would be 1.65 million people dead if maybe you didn't treat them with this. Now let's get here. If you had no lockdowns, no authoritarianism, and there was a magical drug that was studied by, say, Oxford, and it worked on 90% of the people, 90, okay? Now you have overall no lockdowns, no V ports, nothing else. No hydroxychloroquine, no demon semen. 165,000 deaths attributed to this. Right now, they're claiming almost 500,000. So why didn't we start doing this yesterday? Or when Jason Burmis, the high school dropout, or not high school, I did graduate.
Why haven't we been putting an emphasis on health, nutrition, and not being a fat ass, a lazy fat ass, since everyone was born? Ever since you started going to school, lesson one, day one. Hey guys, being fat is really negative towards your life. It can make you sick. It can take away from your joy. It's better not to be fat. Here's how to be healthy. Let's focus on that. We should have been focusing on that 50, 60 years ago and continuing to fix that. But instead, there's more money in selling things to losers. Stay a loser, be a loser, give us money to support your loserhood.
But the problem is, though, all these people have this certain self-image of themselves where instead of being shamed by society for what they've done to their body and their surrounding environment.
What they do to society, the cost on society for not taking care of yourself physically is tremendous.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree. But again, they've been told that their body image, that you've been fat shamed and you've gotten 56 awards, participation awards throughout your whole life, and they're talking about equity, and maybe you're quarter Asian or Latino or African, etc. You know what I mean? Oh, I've been oppressed. This victim head mentality.
Oh, a blank slate ideology. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's been pushed to the point where donuts are treats. UBIs are going to be treats, universal basic income. It's funny. Did you see Musk today?
What's he doing now?
Oh, dude. So Bernie Sanders
riding a robot dog, smoking a joint.
Wait, did I already exit out? I hope I didn't, but I covered it earlier. There's the Krispy Kreme donuts. I must exit out. Basically, Bernie Sanders put out a tweet saying that him and Bezos now own more than the lower 40% of the entire United States. They're worth more than 40% of the country, basically, the lower half. And Elon came back in the tweet to Bernie Sanders. He's like, I am amassing resources so that I can get us humanity off planet. So he's, again, Elon's our...
I'm all for that, though. I want to, let's go to Mars, bro.
We're not going to Mars, bro.
Give me a laser blaster. Give me a laser blaster and some seeds. I'm going to have the first pot farm up in...
You're not,
in
though.
Mars.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, John. They're going to tell you you're fucking going to have one. They're not going nowhere, dude. Like again, Inspiration 4, SpaceX, they've got their crew. They did it, John. The internet lottery, they've got their crew. They're going to orbit the Earth. This is all horseshit, man. I was showing today. All right, let me give you another example.
Shouldn't this be a push for human beings? Like all of us get on board to the one thing together. Let's get off planet. Let's conquer the universe. Let's do it. We're awesome.
John.
Awesome.
John.
Let's share human awesomeness with the universe. The little green aliens don't know shit about the universe. We need to teach them. Let's go, man. Some American exceptionalism,
John,
worldwide or solar system wide.
We've already been so much farther and done so many other things and used so much other propulsion and energy technology that what the general public thinks space is, John, is probably like beyond like 179.9999 degrees what we think it is. All right, let me say that. I'm letting you know. They are not telling you shit. They've been all over. Have you noticed the big story is that John Ratcliffe, former Trump administration guy, says, oh, there's going to be a big disclosure about UFOs. Oh, it's coming. Oh, UFOs. Oh, ew. Dude, they're selling us on all this bullshit. Meanwhile, fucking William Shatner is making a fucking avatar of himself, an AI avatar of himself right now before he dies because he's 90 fucking years old. And they're telling you you're going to upload your consciousness. Dude, it's a scam. It's a fucking scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. They have no desire to let any of us know what's going on in even the upper atmosphere of around the Earth. Forget about fucking Mars and Saturn and fucking none of that. They don't care. Yo, it's movies, man. We've seen too many fucking movies. I hate to disappoint everybody because listen, me too, bro. I love Star Trek. I love Star Wars. You know, I want to ride on a fucking blaster. You know, I want to be on the Millennium Falcon. I want to wear a vest with the confidence that Han Solo did one day with a fucking blaster on my sidearm. It's never going to happen, dude.
I want a harem of green and purple alien ladies.
It's all... Dude, it's fucking... Listen, here's the thing, man. And I believe this with my heart of hearts. They are going to roll something fucking out that is going to be a biological entity. And this thing's going to think it's an alien. It's going to tell you some fucking far out story. You're going to believe it's an alien. It is not a fucking alien. It is not. I promise you it is not. The dude... This is, again, what blows my mind. You saw, we've been talking about that DARPA project, right, to end cancer, right? And now it's just they keep throwing DARPA out like it's a buzzword. Like DARPA has been on a black budget for 7 decades, basically, underground, completely unaccountable, and the very shreds of what we have from them, the very shreds of it, are mind-blowing. They're what they're showing the public now with like Elon Musk's Neuralink and Starlink and all that stuff. I'm worried, man. I'm worried. Like I don't think that Elon Musk is rich because it's free market. Tesla doesn't make any money, bro. they've always been in the red. They've never been in the black, but they keep getting all this funding. It's weird. He's the co-founder of PayPal. All right. He's the co-founder of PayPal with Peter Thiel. Not a good person. Not a good person. And then on top of it, he's pushing rocket ships that, again, are technology from 70 fucking years ago. Again, make me believe that everybody's entire life, this little magic box has it in it, and this thing's got a fucking stabilizer in it, and it's got color grading for 8K video. like, are you kidding me? And you're telling me it's rocket time. We're going rockets. No. How is he funding all this? Where is all this money coming from? Why is he so rich? Dogecoin? This guy is the fucking worst, dude. Listen, Fitch, you put me in a nice suit, a haircut like this one, I'll put a little gel in it. You get me on a podium next to fucking Elon Musk and give me 48 hours to prepare. I don't even need a week. I will come and just like here, like the ability to go boop and magically show my stuff on the back, right? Dude, Elon Musk would walk off fucking crying within 15 to 30 minutes, or he would start accusing me of being a white supremacist. Like, he would want nothing to do with me. He's got no real answers. I'm just telling you, I want to believe too, man. But when we don't even have, let's say this, we don't have credible video reconnaissance of the moon in 2021, not even from a ship that's orbited it, right? Not even from the International Space Station, which in theory is so much closer that it should be able to get the telescope stuff. And certainly not from some type of rover, right? Why is that? Shouldn't we be able to do that? Shouldn't we have been able to do that like 20, 30 years ago? Forget about put another fucking man on the moon. Just
wouldn't that be wouldn't that something people would want to put money into? Like, hey, let's put a live streaming camera on the moon. That's cool.
Yeah, you think
we can look at the Earth.
Yeah, you think that.
You know, then you could go online and check it all the time.
Here's the thing.
It kind of surprises me that there hasn't been like a at-home person to like create a satellite. Like technology hasn't gone far enough to where somebody could build a satellite
they
or
get
rocket
shot
in
down,
their backyard
man.
and
People
send
do
it
put
up.
them up. They do put them up. They get shot down. That's what they're not telling you. That shit is so militarized. And so you listen, man, it's all it's the new technopoly. It's approved corporations and then military ops. Think about what they're selling you and what they haven't given you yet. It's a no-brainer we should have had that stuff before, right? Forget about just a live stream or just that type of reconnaissance has never been done by any major nation state. And they, again, show us Apollo footage from now 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So it doesn't add up. My brains aren't fucking mashed potatoes. I don't believe there were only 165 people that were hospitalized in this country from the flu this year. Sorry. The CDC can put it on fucking paper all they want. And dude, he's dangerous. He's so fucking dangerous. He might be more dangerous than Bezos and Gates because those guys look and act like literal Bond supervillains. And they're making this guy out to be fucking not so much James Bond, but maybe like the guy in the movie that helps him that's against the other billion. He sits at the table while they're fucking doing their plans and he's like, I won't stand for it. It's true, dude. Hey, listen, man, I want to believe too, but hey, I run into this problem where people are
Elon's.
They want to believe he's the second coming of Jesus Christmas, and he's not. He's a big problem, John. He's a fucking huge problem. Show's called Mixed Martial Mindset, and we've done 40 minutes. We've talked no fights. Did you catch any of those fights?
We did talk a little MMA though with
That's
the
true.
Lawsuit stuff.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
That.
That's very true.
I caught some of the fights. The main event wasn't that great, but was it Bruno?
Brunson.
Brunson, sorry.
Yeah.
Brunson,
He's AKA, isn't he?
He did what he needed to do. He did a great fight. It was what he needed to win. He did great. It was, that's what had needed to happen. But It wasn't what they hyped. And then like in douchebag Dana at the end, he's like, oh, I don't know what happened to that guy. He lost at Blues Crew. Bullshit. You guys were hyping him the whole time about running his mouth and talking through the fights. And you that push, 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 push. That's what the whole thing was. That guy got probably amped up on all the promotion and wanted to really do it and give them what they wanted, you know?
Well, you're not wrong. They put out
a
whole.
Lost. But then he lost, so he's got to like badmouth him.
Well, the thing is, they put out a sizzle reel of all his shit talk over the last 18 months from the Contender Series. I think I might have even tweeted it out or liked it at least. So you're right.
I think I saw the same thing. But yeah, they're using that to promote the fight. And then when he does what they promoted, oh my God, he just lost it. He lost his mind. What an idiot. It's like you promote the fight with Khabib and the Irish bloke, you know, from throwing a fucking thing through the window. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe like some shit broke out after the fight. Oh, I can't believe that happened. Totally out of nowhere. How could that ever have happened? Get the fuck out of here. You're like, they're in the back. Oh, that's so awesome. They were probably high-fiving each other and shit. You know, like that was so fucking great. Yeah. And put on the serious face as he goes out. Like sometimes when my kids do shit I think is awesome, but at the same time, like they shouldn't be doing it. It's like I go and hide in the bathroom. I'm like, oh, that's so fucking cool. And then I come up like, dad face. What are you doing? Put that down. Stop throwing that shit. Like come on, whatever, man. You don't sell it that way and then act surprised afterwards when some shit happens.
No, you're right, man. Like you're 100% right. And no matter what they did at the moment, whether or not they were high-fiving and chest bumping and whatever and champagne drinking, they used it in promos. They capitalized and exploited it later 100%. You know, you can act like, you know, all press is good press, but again, you see how they've handled this McGregor situation. They've really handled the press on all the rape stuff. Still, we're years later now. So again, you got to ask yourself, if the media can distort something as simple as that, just a sports story about something we should be outraged about, right? Again, they think about this manipulation. Like Cuomo's saying, I'm not going anywhere, honey. Like he's saying, I'm not. He literally says today to somebody who, I'm not going anywhere. They transitioned.
He's go to prison. That's where he needs to go.
And he ain't leaving. They transitioned to scandal about lockdowns, authoritarianism, medical martial law, basically telling you can't choose certain drugs while we put sick patients in nursing homes and disability centers. They did that too. It was like also just, and there's a ton of those. My brother did that for years in New York. I can't tell you in upstate New York how many of those adult homes there are with people that work like in Westchester County or down in the city, or they're divorced and like one of their kids ends up being semi on the spectrum, autistic or whatever, John. Mm-hmm. They're everywhere. They employ so many. Some of my friends back from high school still work at those places. And even in Oneonta, that's another big thing. In upstate New York, the amount of, disabled adults that need 24-hour care is unbelievably tremendous. Mm. So they put those people in there where all those people are extremely vulnerable. They're born with genetic defects that make their immune system not work through no fault of their own. You know what I mean? Those are the scandals, and instead it's, well, he said some dirty things. He might have wanted to play a little grab ass.
Might have grabbed a boob.
Might have grabbed the boob. And then I talk about McGregor, and it's like, he's a fine Irishman, except for that time he slapped an old man. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck he slapped an old man. I'm concerned about, like, the violent rape allegations. How about that? You know? And again, it's just like with this COVID stuff. It's like, I don't know, those variants are scary. Maybe I'll take a 7th vaccine. I'll tell you what, how about 7 vaccines? How about do 2 in one arm, 2 in the other, and then it's a 3-runner for your ass. It's like one left cheek, right cheek, and then the final one is one they shove directly up your asshole that's like this long into your spine.
The thing that came out yesterday, they're talking about patients who are sick with COVID, if they're injected with female hormones, they're found to like get better faster. So that's the play. Oh, you have COVID. We have to inject you full of all these female hormones. And then you have to get you're going to have to get the vaccine shot. the boop boop.
I mean,
It's
I'm
gonna
hoping
be
this.
forced transgenderism.
It's not. Listen, man. People better realize,
You
man.
you
Like,
have to become a woman to save other people. That's going to be the argument. The only way to stop the spread and killing people is if you cut your dick off and go on female hormones. That's the only answer, guys.
and stop eating meat. I mean, you're gonna do
Yes.
that, and you're gonna stop eating meat
Yes,
also.
cow farts. That's fucking the weather up.
Yep. John, I wish we were just kidding around and it was joke time. And we're having a good time with it. By the way, I like the tank top. Where'd you get that?
One of our sponsors, Fitch and Tinkle Smash Everything sponsors, is Jaden's Journey. I'll show you the back because I don't have the product with me.
Yeah, let's see it.
But it's Jaden's Journey. It's a CBD company, right? And the guy had a son who, had tremors and all that stuff, and then he started doing this thing with the CBDs, and his son's like a lot better now. Doesn't have the hundreds of spasms a day and shit like that. So. This is a shirt from him, which I like the F COVID.
Oh, I love it. We got not Jan. I'm sorry. We got Stipe versus fucking Miocic too. Or not Stipe versus Miocic. My God, I'm losing it. Stipe versus Ngannou too.
There's the product.
Hold on, keep it up there. Let me get a up close John shot there. There we go. Jaden's.
Yep.
All right.
CBD. Good stuff.
Who you got? You got the Stipe again? You think Ngannou is going to pull it off or what?
I think Stipe is going to solve that puzzle. He's a big, powerful monster, but you can still outthink a big, powerful monster.
He did it last time.
But yeah. I mean, it only takes one though. he could decapitate him, pretty quickly.
Yeah, he could. It's exciting. It's definitely. I'm gonna have to watch it on the replay because we've got fights Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. CagedAggression.tv, CagedAggression.tv, CagedAggression.tv. I think it's like, I don't know. I think you can get all 3 nights for like $50 or $60, guys. It's pretty cheap. And you're supporting local MMA. You're supporting Jason Burmis on the microphone. You get to hear me run my mouth for 3 straight nights. We're gonna have a crowd. I believe that the beer and food vending is open this time. So if you can actually come to Iowa, it's at the River Center in Davenport. I'm pumped. There's one night where every single fight is an undefeated fighter versus another undefeated fighter in the pro aspect. They got some amateur bouts, of course, first, but that's always fun. You got a guy even 3-0 versus a 7-0 or an 8-0 versus a 9-0. It's always nice to see that competition. Plus, we got a couple of ex-UFC guys fighting on these cards, including Zach Otto. So I'm pretty pumped, man. And I get to go out. Just like I went out this weekend.
Around people.
I get to be around people. I'm in a place that I don't wear a mask. I'm done wearing a mask, Fitch. It's over. And now if they ask me, I just leave. Because enough people here are at that point also, and enough businesses are open. If you want to start asking me about a V card, I can guarantee you here in Iowa, you will, at least this section, you will go out of business. And you have to encourage people, not to go to the Yankee game. You saw that, right? Cuomo wants the V word passport to go to a Yankee game at 20%, or Mets. That guy's still in office. He's a serial killer. He's a serial killer, and they're trying to make him as a serial philanderer or ass grabber. Who cares? Let me repeat it. He's a serial fucking killer. Fitch, why don't you tell everybody about johnfitch.net and what you got coming up, brother?
JohnFitch.net, sign up for the newsletter. John Fitch knows nothing. I had Kung Lee on my show last night. I do a weekly show, 7 p.m. on the left coast. I'm open for seminars. You can email Leah at johnfish.net and book that. I can come out and see you. I've got courses and things available on Gumroad, and you can learn how to fight, learn how to get fit. I'll put some more courses together, And then I also have I have a men's group on Patreon, the Smash Society. And I'm trying to get some people in the Bay Area and then hopefully do some meetups and just do some guy shit. Maybe shoot some guns, shoot some arrows, stuff that we need, testosterone unity.
Not if you want to survive the worst and most deadly virus of all time, you fucking bastard. You fucking heartless son of a bitch wearing a fucking beater like that. How dare you? TheGruelingTruth.com, that's where you get the audio version, but the most important thing is to Rockfin. Look at all that free shit, guys. And now, so here's what we're doing these days.
I got technique videos up there. I got one-off videos I've made, and I've got my podcast streams on that also.
I mean, this is what I've been doing. So, like, for instance, when we talked about the Krispy Kreme donuts, I couldn't get into how healthy and delicious I really thought the AstraZeneca boop boop was.
I'm surprised they don't put the vaccine right in the donut.
Why not? Why?
Mix it into the glaze. Just mix it into the glaze.
Why
man.
not? Yeah, they have those oral vaccines. Apparently, allegedly, though, in 2020, when they use oral polio vaccines in the Sudan and other places like Nigeria and the Congo, it actually causes outbreaks of polio. Remember that we tell everybody that has been eradicated from society, but that's not real. Don't share that on there. So yeah, what we're doing, guys, is I'll do another 10, 15 minutes uncensored in most of my broadcasts if you're over on Rockfin. And we're doing them free. You just come on over, follow me. There's some big things coming, John, where you're not even going to have to sign up to watch videos free. You will to tip. You will to comment and things like that. But the free videos will now be available to watch, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So a lot of things coming up there. And if you are a paying subscriber, you get everything Fitch, everything Burmis, everything everybody else, and this great little premium extra with myself and Jay Dyer talking about occultic Hollywood. Ooh.
And you support cryptocurrency.
You know what? Let's look, because Ray was making a run earlier today. It fell down a little bit, but it was on a good run. And, quite the dip. Quite the dipsy do. It looks like, that sucks. Oh well. You got no one to hold them, no one to. Ether, however, looks like it's looming right up around $2,000 right now. Almost there, not quite.
That's good. Have you listened or heard anything, followed anything about the NFT craze that's going on right now?
I did broadcasts with Fitch and or not Fitch, Militich and Jeffrey Wilson about it. So the non-fungible token, if you will. We should get into that more next week, but I think there's a lot of problems with it because it could be a big way to launder money, right? Think about it. You give the value to a non-fungible token, which is just like this digital asset or watermark.
Well, I mean, I follow this guy, Max Kaiser. Have you ever heard of Max Kaiser?
I interviewed Max like 12 years ago. He's the guy. He's the one that offered me Bitcoin for Invisible Empire that Jones didn't take. We'd be billionaires, me and Jones.
Well,
so
Max has been involved in a long time. So he was a trader in New York City, and he saw all the worst of everything. So he knows how it works. And then he saw Bitcoin. It's like, oh, this is better. And now I guess you'd call him a Bitcoin maximalist. Mm-hmm. And he was hardcore shitting on his Twitter last night about NFTs, because basically it's like people saying, oh, it's a unique piece of art that a person can own. It's like, but it's digital and you can copy it. Yeah. So it's like, it's not original. Like anybody can copy it. So you don't really own it. So it's kind of a scam. That was his take on it. I don't know if that's factual.
No, I think that's exactly it. Well, I think that I
pay attention to the space just because, it's another market and people are making money off of it. So you might as well take a peek at what's going on.
Oh, I get it. But again, think about this. Just like with artwork being a way to launder money. Oh, that painting's worth $25 million. It's tax free. It's going here. It could, there's always these backdoor deals when you're getting into those type of money. And now you're talking about digital assets and investing. It's also another way to push the social credit system, right? Giving value to a tweet or giving value to somebody's TikTok, right? And it creates, again, this idea that we're all involved in this celebritard culture that goes now beyond what reality TV was, beyond what influencers.
On some level, though, we already have a credit score system because all of us, especially, people are creating content. We're all getting likes. We're all getting more exposure. We're all trading that in for sales and getting people to buy things. So, we're already kind of there. They just haven't controlled that credit system. Mm-hmm. If they can control it, then they're the ones in charge of what is a good act and what isn't a good act, rather than the market deciding.
Well, that's it. Listen, it's going to be morality for us, but not them. You know what I mean? Do you really think like the people that are pulling the strings and the guys that are saying bomb Yemen or drop here, that those people's social credit score is going to go down when 250 people die at a wedding? No, it's the same
No one will
way.
hear about it.
Yeah, it'll probably shoot right the fuck up. Probably goes up fucking. It triples it. Oh, you took out 250? Triple it up.
Well, I mean, yeah, like the only time Trump was ever presidential to the media was when he bombed Syria.
Exactly. So again, it's just really a watermark on an original file. I look at it almost where it could benefit me in a way, like too, because all right, say we're making non-fungible tokens, right? I have a lot of my hard drives for my original movies. So if somebody wants a non-fungible token of the original DVD master that I sent off to get mastered, I've got it's basically just a watermarked version of an ISO file, like that anybody could do. But at the same time, I think you're going to see it as a tool to empower some people, create trends, and oppress others. Hey, listen, it's weird, right? It's one of those things.
Persuasion and power.
Always. Fitch, I always look forward to these every week. We'll be getting together next Monday, of course, and hopefully we'll have some really good fights to talk about because they were kind of lackluster this week. Wasn't great. All right, brother. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, audience. Rockfin.
Rockin'.
Laters. Later.